Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio. My name is Greg, and the name of my show is Spiritism Healing and Meditation. This is show number 21. Kardec Radio is nourishing our souls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with over 4,000 podcasts on Facebook, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. Go to those, download them, and take them on the go, and enjoy and be enlightened as you have your travels. Kardec Radio is 100% volunteer based, and we rely on donations. So if you can, we'll be happy to receive any donations. You can just go to kardecradio.com and you can connect there for your donations or send in your questions. So today we have some beautiful quotes, beautiful messages from the Spiritist magazine number 47. And we would like to connect with God and the spiritual mentors before we begin this program. So if you can, you're in a position to close your eyes and lift your hearts and your thoughts to God. Heavenly Mother, Father God, Master Jesus, spiritual mentors of Kardec Radio, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for bringing us this day, God. We ask for you to inspire the speaker and the listener. Inspire us all to move forward and to move to higher vibrations through prayer, through constant connection with our spirit guides and all the divine beings that are constantly around us, helping us evolve and to make the right choices. We thank you for always being with us and guiding us on this sometimes rocky road. We thank you, dear Lord, and we wish to begin the meeting, so be it. So, I would like to begin right away. The first one is called The Hopes of Others, and this is by the Spirit Meme through the psychography of our beloved Chico Xavier. Almost always we concentrate soul and life in our hopes, but hardly do we find ourselves thinking about the hopes of others. Practicing withdrawing yourself from self-preoccupations in order to reflect on others' wishes. Perhaps you have not become aware that where you are, and no matter how, you can begin the service most properly addressed to the role of angels. I do not know if you have already noticed more closely the sad man who sometimes crosses your path near your home. With such a strange, closed expression, you are still waiting for a slight smile. But try to imagine his hopes. He is a companion with a paralyzed wife and 4 children in need of support. Certainly, you do not have the means to satisfy all the demands. However, among all, he has the simplest desire. He wishes for the younger son to be more tightly wrapped up during the night. It will not cost you much to offer him a blanket so that his desire comes true. Take heart in his condition and it will transform that bitter face into joy that lies imprisoned in his chest by tufts of discouragement. Perhaps you ignore that woman of an unpleasant presence that expresses herself through offensive language, but she is nothing more than asking for ingrained observation. She was abandoned by her companion, who left her with two defenseless little ones. On top of not having work to assure her survival, she ends up on roads that lead her to more anguish. Of course, you will not be able to alleviate all of her worries. However, all it might take to simply assist her in the sense of fulfilling her desire is just to enroll her 7-year-old son in a public school. Do this and note the gratitude that will be expressed from within towards you in form of sympathy. And we have many other cases, that of a sick person who would be comforted with 10 minutes of your inspiring words, a young boy who will be happy to receive a plain slice of cake, the irritated neighbor who changed for the better with your friendly smile, or that of a friend locked in a domestic hardships, asking you for some phrases of peace and optimism that may bring the shadows to the light. Learn how to stay out of your own worries to understand the hopes of others and mitigate them when you can. Then you will be serving in the mission of the angels, finding your own happiness for every individual whom you decide to decide to offer specks of help will make you a luminous piece of the presence of God. From the book Deus Aguarda, Pamene, 1980. We're talking about an expression that came out of a popular song in the 60s, I believe, Earth Angel. It's a beautiful song. I don't remember much more about the song than that, but you can Google the song Earth Angel, and it is a perfect expression of what we can be here on Earth, to offer help. And it really is true. People who are suffering greatly don't expect, let me put it another way. Oftentimes we think, well, how can I help that person? They're in such trouble. I don't have a lot of money. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a this or that. And so as a result, we stay away from that person because we feel so sorry for them that we can't possibly help. But what Mene is saying here is that you can help just a tiny bit, and that tiny bit can make all the difference in the world. Just a smile, just to offer to take child to daycare or something like that. These little tiny things mean a lot to people that are suffering, because what it does is it gives them a little bit of hope that someone out of the blue came to help them just a little bit. There's a story in the Vedic literature about a seagull, and the seagull lays her eggs in the sand. And one day she laid her eggs in the sand, and the sea came up and took the eggs back into the sea, and she was upset that the sea had stolen her eggs and she asked the sea to return her eggs. And the sea did not respond. So she says, if you don't, I'm going to dry you up, drop by drop. And the sea laughed. And so she started to do that. And drop by drop, she'd take some water and she'd put it onto the land, take some water and put it onto the land. She was so dedicated, and her mission to return, to get her children, her babes, back from the sea, that the great power of nature came to help her. And the story is such, probably a metaphor, that a giant bird came to help her. And the giant bird said to the sea, if you don't return, I will sit on the sea, and through my enormous feathers, I will absorb all your water. And the sea returned the eggs to the seagull. And thus ends the story. The idea is doing a little bit, tiny little bits, that you will gain what we call the support of nature. We will gain the support of all those spirits that are helping us. We have a dedication to help. And that's what I see in this story, is a beautiful story. So I have another reading to do, and I will find that. This next one is called Compliment and Criticism by the Spirit Emmanuel, and from the book Follow Me. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. James 1:17. If the sun depended on human approval to nourish the life that gravitates around it, certainly it would long ago be reduced to a pile of ashes. If earth suffered from the censures that are constantly made by those who categorize it as a valley of tears, it would have already descended to the condition of a cemetery in space. If the seed rejected the solitude and depth to which it is regulated in the soil, in order to collaborate with the sustenance of the world, the creatures would have been, for a while, without the blessing of bread. If the spring refused the incessant and permanent regime change in which it is called to serve, life organized on earth would be confined to the primitivism and stagnation. If the tree only produced under applause, the fruit would not bless humanity's table. Workers of the truth and the good, let us reflect on the simple lessons of nature, and let's work. Give thanks to the compliment that strengthens you for the fulfillment of the natural obligations of the world, and enjoy with resignation the warning that criticism gives you. However, if we need praises to work, and if admonition paralyzes the faculties of service, we are still far from understanding the treasure of opportunities for improvement and elevation that enriches our ways. Since, above all, the blessing that comforts us, the light that illuminates our road, the strength that sustains us, and the support that hold us always come from on high and proceed originally and only from God. This idea that God works incessantly for us, if we think about it, is absolutely true. God creates, maintains, and evolves the universe every moment, every nanosecond. It's constantly expanding universe, constantly growing, constantly new creatures, spirits being born, constantly maintaining our physiologies in an infinite universe. Infinite. How many zeros? 10 to the 500 is infinity. It's mind-boggling if you just spend a moment to think about what infinity really is. And it has been said that there are an infinite number of infinities. And all of our breaths, all of our blood pumping in our veins and capillaries, all the billions of cells that we have are being maintained by God. Everything is being maintained by God. And that's why we call this life a miracle. So, the idea is we need to become more like God, since we are created in His image. And what God does is sustains us, helps us, evolves us. And we can do the same to our neighbor. And that's the whole purpose of Spiritism, is to remind us of those principles, that we are here to serve. As the last section said, that we will be like angels, what I called earth angels. So the last section I would like to read is a very short one, and it is beautiful. So this is also from the Spirits magazine, issue number 47, and it's called A Portrait of Mother Mary. On the night of December 1st, 1984, the Spirit Emmanuel dictated through Chico Xavier a spoken portrait of Mary of Nazareth to the photographer Vicente Avella from Sao Paulo. The work was carried out gradually since mid-1985, with successive touches by Vicente's great ability, who had discussed it more than 20 times with Chico Xavier. Chico stressed that Mary's portrait, thus portrayed, reveals her as she is recognized during her visits to the closest and most disturbed spiritual spheres of the earth's crust. For example, in the Legions of the Servants of Mary, the great institution for the support of suicides as described in detail in the book Memoirs of a Suicide, received by the medium Ivan Pereira. And the portrait I have here, I have a copy of the portrait. I will show you. Mother Mary is a protector of Kardec Radio, I'm told. And we love her and revere her. A blessed soul that could have gone on to higher spheres as her son, near her son, but with such compassion for the suffering, particularly the extreme suffering, those in the realms of the dark regions of where the suicides spirits go. And the book that he is referring to is a beautiful book, Memoirs of a Suicide. It's somewhat off-putting when you read the title and you think, well, I don't know why I would want to read something like that. I found it very uplifting. Of course, there is a lot of great suffering in it, but there is also a huge amount of compassion. You see these high-order spirits that work for Mary of Nazareth Hospital in the Valley of the Suicides, and these legions of the servants of Mary. They travel around in the Valley of the Suicides like a parade, and they rescue spirits that are willing to come and transform. And that's all there is. It's, are you willing to come? And they will be rescued. And in this story, there's a group of them that are rescued, and it's a story of their rescue. And you can see it's a very thick book, and it is uplifting. I want to read one small little section here that I earmarked as I was reading the book, and I wanted to share it with you. Father Ambrosio, the assistant in charge of collecting all of us at the end of the day, found me awash in tears. I once more described my misfortune to him, and also told him about my plea to Mary. He comforted me tenderly, bringing hope to my aching heart, and concluded, while gently helping me back to the community, you must persevere in those pleas, my dear Geronimo. Do it cheerfully and with courage. Raise the level of your vibrations as high as possible so that your righteous requests can reverberate harmoniously in the higher layers of the astral plane, where radiating flowers of assistance and blessings, the loving charity of the gentle guardian of our legion thrives, and the gentle guardian is Mother Mary. I also suggest that you pray together with other spirits, uniting your thoughts with other thoughts, so that your still feeble energies may be revitalized in the warmth of others. Your prayers are extremely important, a true message directed to Mary. I will talk to our kind counselor about this. We want to thank the dedicated medium, Yvonne Pereira, for bringing us this beautiful message. And it has a beautiful ending where these troubled spirits are brought to a state, back to a state of balance, to where they can go and continue their journey back on earth, where they cut it short. A very brave step for these spirits, but the compassions of Mary helped them. So thank you, dear friends, for joining and listening to these beautiful immortal stories from Spiritism, from the Spiritist magazine. We thank the editor-in-chief, Vanessa Anzalone, for their dedication to bringing this Spiritist magazine out. It's beautiful. I think I've probably shown it to you in the past. Here's a physical copy. You can get the physical copies, spiritistmagazine.org. and or you can get the downloads and read them directly on your PDF reader. So thank you for joining. We thank the spiritual mentors, and we ask to close this section, and we invite you to stay and listen to the meditation healing section, which is coming up next. Many blessings to you all. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Purifying the heart and mind before a healing prayer, as described by the Spirit Father Eustachio, who was a healing medium when alive on earth. This through the hands of psychography of Chico Xavier. Repeat after me, silently or out loud. Visualize the person or people who have hurt you. Look into their eyes and say to them, I forgive you. Thank you. I love you. See yourself hugging them. Visualize the people you have hurt. Look into their eyes and say, I am sorry. Forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Visualize yourself hugging them. Now visualize yourself as a small child. Look directly into your eyes and say, I forgive you. I love you. Thank you, dear soul. God loves you greatly, more than you are capable of knowing. The healing prayer. Repeat after me, silently or out loud. Dear God, please use me as an instrument of healing to cure this infirmity. I have faith in you and know that all things are possible with you. Please free me from all thought of pride and selfishness, which may alter their purity. I humbly beseech you to permit your good spirits to concentrate their beneficial fluids in me, so that I may bring about health. Let us visualize a shower of God's healing light being poured over the diseased or damaged area. Sustain this image of light, healing, soothing the damaged or diseased part. This light of God coming through Jesus and the good spirits restores balance and reinvigorates health. See this light not only healing the physical vessel, but the paraspiritual body. See the cells coming alive with new joyous energy, happy to be part of God's plan and carry out this holy work. See this loving light of God pour over our entire spark of God we call the soul. See each cell be enlivened in vigor and health. May this heavenly divine light elevate us to learn from this mistake that caused the disease. May it infuse wisdom and discernment so that future thoughts and actions do not cause harm to myself or any other dear soul. See us healthy, happy, vibrant, glowing in divine light, a heart full of love and acceptance of all. Thank you, Holy God. Thank you, Blessed Jesus. And thank you, good spirits that are sent by God for this healing. Thank you for this healing. Thank you. Thank you.
Maria, gratia plena.